Good morning, my friends. Life has a way of putting us in situations where we feel alone. There will be seasons when no one claps for you, when no one stands by your side, when the road ahead seems uncertain. But let me tell you, you are never truly alone. You have a strength inside you that is bigger than any obstacle, greater than any setback. Sometimes the people we thought would walk with us disappear. The support we expected doesn't come. But hear me today. You don't need approval to move forward. You don't need an audience to thrive. The power to survive, to rise, to conquer, it's already in you. When life pushes you into isolation, it's not to break you, it's to build you. It's in those moments that you discover who you really are. You find out that you don't need permission to be great. You don't need validation to shine. The lion doesn't ask for applause before it roars. The eagle doesn't wait for company before it soars. And you don't need anyone's permission to step into your destiny. So today I challenge you, be ready to stand alone. Be ready to fight when no one cheers. Be ready to keep going when the road gets lonely. Because when you master the art of standing alone, nothing can shake you. No disappointment, no betrayal, no setback can hold you back. You are stronger than you think, wiser than you know, and more powerful than you can imagine. So when life puts you in a place where you have to survive alone, stand tall, hold your head high, and keep moving forward, because you were never meant to break, you were meant to rise. Now go out there and be unstoppable. You are never truly alone. Life has a way of making you feel like you're walking through the fire all by yourself, like no one understands, like no one sees the battles you fight in silence. But just because you feel alone doesn't mean you are alone. You carry something greater within you. Strength that isn't dependent on who stays or who leaves. Courage that doesn't need an audience. Power that isn't diminished by isolation. There will be moments when the people you counted on aren't there. The friends you thought would walk with you choose another path. The support you expected never comes. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that you've been abandoned, that you have to do life on your own. But hear me today, you are equipped to stand. You were created with everything you need to survive, to endure, to overcome. Sometimes life removes distractions so you can see what's really inside you. When the noise fades and the crowd disappears, that's when you realize your strength doesn't come from others. It comes from within. Your destiny isn't tied to who stays, who supports you, or who believes in you. Your destiny is tied to the fire inside of you, the resilience that refuses to be shaken, the unshakable spirit that keeps rising no matter what comes against it. So don't be afraid of the seasons when you feel alone. Don't shrink back when people walk away. That's not the time to give up. It's the time to dig deeper, to remind yourself that you don't need permission to keep going, that you don't need company to be powerful. Everything you need is already inside you. You were built for this. You were prepared for this. You are stronger than you know, and when you understand that, nothing can break you. You don't need approval to move forward. Too often, we wait for someone to give us permission to chase our dreams, to validate our ideas, to reassure us that we're on the right path. But the truth is, if you keep waiting for approval, you'll stay stuck. People's opinions are inconsistent. One moment they cheer for you, the next they question you. If you rely on their validation, you'll always be at the mercy of their changing moods. Your army of greatness isn't built on applause. Success doesn't come from unanimous agreement. The most powerful moves you will ever make in life will be the ones you take in faith without needing anyone to co-sign your vision. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will believe in your dream. And that's okay, because they weren't called to it, you were. When you know who you are, when you trust the fire inside of you, you won't waste time seeking approval from people who don't see the full picture. Your purpose isn't up for debate. Your destiny isn't dependent on public opinion. You were created to rise, to build, to conquer with or without approval. So stop waiting for someone to clap for you before you move. Stop holding back because someone doesn't understand your vision. Move forward boldly, knowing that if the dream is in you, the power to achieve it is in you too. Isolation is not a punishment, it's preparation. When life pulls you away from the crowd, when doors seem to close, when you find yourself walking alone, don't see it as rejection, see it as refinement. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen in seasons of isolation. It's in the quiet places where you develop the strength, the wisdom and the resilience to handle what's coming next. When you're isolated, distractions are removed. The voices of doubt fade. The opinions of others no longer shape your decisions. And you're left with one thing, your true self. This is where growth happens. This is where you sharpen your vision, where you learn to rely not on external validation, but on the fire within you. Look at any strong, successful person, and you'll see that their defining moments didn't happen in the spotlight. They happened in the unseen hours, in the silent battles, in the moments when they had no choice but to push forward alone. Your isolation is not the end of you, it's the making of you. So if you're in a season where you feel set apart, don't resist it, embrace it. Use this time to prepare, to build, because when your moment comes, you won't just be ready, you'll be unstoppable. Life's setbacks are setups for a comeback. What looks like a failure, what feels like a delay, what seems like a loss is often just a step in the process of something greater. Every setback you've faced, every disappointment, every closed door, it's not the end of your story. It's a setup for something bigger, something better, something beyond what you can see right now. Think about it. Some of the most powerful victories in history didn't come from easy roads. They came from people who were knocked down, counted out, and underestimated. But instead of staying defeated, they used the setback as fuel. They learned from it, grew through it, and came back stronger than ever. And you can do the same. That financial struggle, that relationship that didn't work out, that opportunity that slipped through your fingers, it's not a signal to quit. It's a test of your resilience. The question isn't whether you'll face setbacks. The question is, will you let them define you, or will you use them to refine you? Every delay is working in your favor. Every closed door is redirecting you to something better. Every failure is teaching you what you need to know for the next level. Your setback is not permanent. It's a setup for your greatest comeback. So don't give up, don't stay discouraged, and don't let temporary obstacles make you forget who you are. Your story isn't over. Your best chapter is still being written. You don't need permission to be great. You don't have to wait for someone to recognize your potential, approve your dreams, or tell you it's your time. The greatness inside of you isn't dependent on other people's opinions, and it's not limited by their expectations. If you keep waiting for validation, you might wait your whole life. The most successful people didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for the perfect moment, for everyone to believe in them, or for circumstances to be just right. They stepped out in faith, they took action, and they proved their greatness by moving forward even when no one understood. Maybe you've been holding back, afraid of what others will say, afraid of stepping into something bigger. But hear me today, you are already enough. The dreams inside you were placed there for a reason. The vision you have is yours to carry out. And if you keep waiting for people to validate your calling, you'll never walk in the fullness of it. So stop shrinking to fit into places that were never meant to contain you. Stop waiting for someone to say, you're ready. You are ready now. The only permission you need is your own. Step into your greatness and own it, because you were created for more. Master the art of standing alone. There will be seasons in life when the crowd disappears, when the support you relied on is no longer there, when you look around and realize it's just you. But that's not a reason to shrink back. That's not the time to doubt yourself. That's the time to rise. The strongest people in history weren't the ones who had an army behind them. They were the ones who stood firm when no one else believed, the ones who kept going when others walked away. They didn't let loneliness break them. They let it build them. They became stronger, wiser, more resilient, not because they had constant support, but because they learned to rely on the power within them. You see, when you master the art of standing alone, nothing can shake you. You no longer depend on applause to feel worthy. You no longer need validation to move forward. You become unstoppable, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. So don't be afraid to walk alone. Don't fear the seasons where it's just you and your vision. This is where you grow. This is where you rise. This is where you prove to yourself that you were never alone, because the power you need has been inside you all along. When people leave, don't break. Life has a way of revealing who is meant to walk with you and who is only part of the journey for a season. It can be painful when people you trusted walk away, when friendships fade, when the support you once had disappears. But hear me today. Their exit is not your end. Their departure is not your downfall. Sometimes people leave because they've played their role in your story. Other times they leave because they can't go where you're headed. And that's okay. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You don't need everyone to stay. What's meant for you will never leave, and what leaves was never meant to hold your destiny. When someone walks away, don't let it break you. Let it build you. Let it make you stronger, more focused, more determined. Use the space they left behind to grow, to rise, to become everything you were meant to be. Your value isn't determined by who stays. Your purpose isn't tied to who supports you. You were created to stand, to thrive, to succeed with or without them. So wipe your tears, lift your head, and keep moving forward, because the people who are truly meant to be in your life won't leave, and the ones who do were never part of your destiny. Stay strong even when no one claps. It's easy to keep going when people cheer for you, when your efforts are recognized, when the applause is loud. But real strength is built in the moments when no one is watching, when no one acknowledges your hard work, when you keep pushing forward without a single word of praise. Not everyone will see your struggle. Not everyone will understand your journey. Some people won't recognize your growth until you've already made it, and that's okay. You're not doing this for applause. You're doing it because you were born for more. Your purpose isn't tied to people's approval, and your success isn't dependent on their recognition. Think about the champions, the pioneers, the greats. They didn't wait for claps to take action. They worked in the unseen hours. They showed up when no one was watching. They stayed disciplined even when no one cared. And that's why they made it. So don't lose heart just because no one notices your effort right now. Keep building. Keep showing up. Keep working in silence, because the results will speak for themselves. And one day, the same people who didn't clap will look up in awe, because you didn't need their applause to succeed. Keep moving forward no matter what. Life will throw challenges your way. You will face moments of uncertainty, seasons of struggle, and times when everything in you wants to quit. There will be days when the road ahead looks unclear, when you feel exhausted, when progress seems slow. But hear me today. No matter what happens, keep moving forward. It doesn't matter if you've been knocked down. It doesn't matter if people have counted you out. It doesn't even matter if you've made mistakes, failed, or taken a few steps back. What matters is that you refuse to stay where you are. The only way you lose is if you stop. The only way you fail is if you give up. As long as you keep moving, you're still in the fight. Some days, moving forward will feel like a sprint. You'll be energized, excited, ready to take on the world. Other days, it will feel like a crawl. You'll barely have the strength to take another step. But progress is progress. Even if you're moving slowly, you're still moving. Even if you have to take breaks, you're still in the game. Even if you stumble, as long as you get back up, you're still winning. People may doubt you. Life may test you. Unexpected obstacles may rise up against you, but none of that determines your destiny. Your struggle you overcome makes you stronger. Every challenge you face builds endurance. Every setback you push through prepares you for something greater. When you look at the most successful people in history, you'll see one thing in common. They didn't quit. They faced rejection. They battled failures. They had moments where everything seemed impossible. But they kept going. And because they kept going, they made it. Your story is no different. So today I challenge you, no matter how hard it gets, no matter who walks away, no matter how slow the progress may seem, don't stop. Keep learning, keep growing, keep showing up. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is one step closer to the life you were meant to live. You didn't come this far to give up now. You were built to keep moving forward, and nothing can stop you unless you let it. You were meant to rise, not to break. Life will test you. It will push you to your limits, challenge your strength, and force you to face obstacles you never expected. There will be moments when you feel like you can't take another step, when the weight of disappointment, struggles, and setbacks feels unbearable. But hear me today. You were never meant to break. You were meant to rise. You may have been knocked down, but you are not defeated. You may have been through storms that tried to shake you, but you are still standing. Life has thrown its hardest battles your way, but you are still here, breathing, fighting, pushing forward. That alone is proof that there is something powerful inside of you. A fire that cannot be extinguished, a resilience that cannot be destroyed. When hardships come, it's easy to believe that they're meant to break you, to weaken you, to steal your hope. But in reality, they are shaping you, refining you, making you stronger. Just like gold is purified in fire, just like diamonds are formed under pressure, you are being prepared for something greater. Think about the people who have achieved greatness. They didn't get there because life was easy for them. They didn't rise because they never faced struggles. They rose because when life tried to break them, they refused to give in. They rose above rejection, above criticism, above failures. And you can do the same. Maybe you've been through seasons of heartbreak. Maybe you've faced loss, disappointment, or betrayal. Maybe you've struggled with self-doubt, feeling like you're not enough, like you'll never make it. But let me remind you, nothing you've been through was meant to destroy you. It was meant to build you. Every difficulty you have faced was designed to strengthen your foundation. Every challenge was preparing you for the next level. Every tear you've cried was watering the soil for your growth. You are not weak because of what you've been through. You are powerful because you survived it. So stand tall, wipe your tears, lift your head, and step forward with confidence. You were created to overcome, to thrive, to succeed. You were meant to rise. No matter how hard life gets, no matter what comes against you, choose to rise. Choose to keep going. Choose to believe that the best is still ahead, because you were never meant to break. You were meant to soar. And so today, make a decision. No matter what comes your way, you will rise. No matter who doubts you, no matter how many times you've fallen, no matter how impossible the road ahead seems, you will not break. You were built for this. You were created with strength, with resilience, with a purpose that cannot be destroyed. When life pushes you down, rise again. When challenges try to shake you, stand firm. When fear whispers that you can't make it, remind yourself you were made for more. The road ahead may not always be easy, but the fire inside you is greater than any obstacle in your way. Keep moving, keep believing, keep fighting, because your story isn't over and your greatest victories are still ahead. You were meant to rise. So rise.